Good morning, friends. Welcome to our video post. Today, we're going to continue our thread of this week, which is starting to tune into a more kind of amorphous aspect of the meditation, in addition to being aware of and connected to you could say, the technique. Been talking about starting to recognize this feeling of feels good, feels about right, feels like home. That's one that many students have said over the years. Oh, this feels like being home. And that can be known clearly. It's a body-mind experience that one can inhabit and one can be aware of. And when we do that, it's kind of like, Monday I talked about, well, it's kind of like bringing the heart into it, because there's a feeling tone to it. And it rounds out the experience from just having the, without this, sometimes it's talked about as being dry, just kind of doing the technique. And when we can tune into this felt experience of what it's like to be resting in the present moment, then it's like the meditation gets rounded out and kind of fuller. Today, I want to mention kind of where we are in this territory in the teachings. The Buddha talked about unworldly joy and worldly joy. So worldly joy is the joy that comes with connecting with and either consuming or experiencing, things in the world. So roller coasters or pizza or whatever brings you joy, like a really good close conversation with a good friend or whatever. So that's worldly joy because it's dependent on things. So no pizza, no joy, no friend there at that time, no conversation, no joy, etc. It's dependent on things. Whereas the unworldly joy is not dependent on anything. It's just the ability of the heart and mind to rest in the present moment. And the joy of that, not dependent on anything outside of us being a certain way. And I've been talking about it mostly in connection to the shamatha practice, this steadiness of mind that rests in the present moment, the body and the mind kind of integrating, suffusing, and the pleasure of that, really. Also, though, this unworldly joy is or can be experienced in the vipassana practice. Because again, the hallmark of unworldly joy is that it doesn't depend on anything outside of us in order for it to be there. So during our vipassana practice, being with what is moment to moment, and maybe what is difficult or hard or painful in the body, the heart, and the mind. And yet, I'm sure some of you have experienced this, there is this sense, again, there's this part of the meditation is more of a sense of joy, of being able to be with this. It's like, this is okay. This pain in the body is okay. This sadness in the mind or the heart, it's okay. And that sense of being able to be with it, even when it's difficult, brings up this unworldly joy. And lots of times it's not a lot of bells and whistles. It's kind of could go kind of under the radar a bit. But once we start to get a sense of it, in which this whole week is about, start to get a sense of this, then it's easier and easier to tune into. And this really adds a new dimension to the formal practice and the informal practice, for that matter, a new dimension to our whole practice, which is it's joyful. This is where our practice is going, but it's not, we're going towards happiness, but it's not just something down at the end of the line. It's actually something we can experience here and now. And so, yeah, the thread of this week is to do experience it here and now. Get to know what that feels like, that subtle kind of, I like the word lovely sense that comes with being present, whether it's in the shamatha practice where we're being present with just a chosen object like the breath body, or in our vipassana practice where we're being present with whatever happens to be arising. It can be just lovely to be there, to be here. So let's go ahead and practice some of that now. You come into whatever posture you're going to do the formal practice in. Bringing some attention to, well, if you're lying down, not so much, but if you're sitting or standing, the upright back. Rising up, the sense of the back rising up. Very important, especially in the shamatha practice, as we induce and cultivate calm, we need to balance that with energy, and this upright back is very helpful for maintaining energy and alertness in the system, the body system, and of course in the mind as well. Eyes gently closed. Again, the eyes are the canary in the coal mine in terms of sense of the body, in terms of it being soft or tense. The eyes are going to pick that up first. The area around the eyes. I really want to encourage you to make a point of practicing with this and getting sensitive to how your eyes feel and the area around your eyes, because you'll really know when you start to get tense. It'll show up there first before anywhere else. Well, maybe the hands and fingers as well. It's the place where it tends to show up first. The sense of the eyes softly shut. And that's kind of like a trigger, tells the rest of the body, okay, time to soften and relax. Jaw becoming slack, shoulders drop, belly drops. And the energy sinks downwards, the attention following that. And we naturally come into contact with the body and touching what's below it, the floor, the chair, feet, hip bones, legs. Feeling this contact, so somatic experience, feeling sensations. And we can even just right now tune in, that light just start to relax, mind present, noticing these contact points. What's the kind of overall gestalt of this experience? Be a sense of perhaps there's not really anything else or anywhere else I'd rather be right now. I don't want to do anything or be anywhere else. This is good enough. Yeah, that's another nice description of this space. Good enough. So there's the felt sense of this space, and then there is the technique, which actually helps give rise to this sense of being present. And for this moment now, the technique is feeling the parts of the body that are connected to what's below it and feeling the sensations. Those are the instructions. That's the structure of what we're doing. And then there's this more amorphous felt sense of this structure helps us to be present. And then what's it like to be present? These two things very much affecting one another. Because when we tune into this lovely sense of being present, we want to do the structure. It's not like we're just following instructions or dryly doing the meditation. We want to be here. That helps us to engage with the structure of the meditation even more or more closely or more intimately. That, of course, gives rise to more presence, more loveliness. Those two kind of feed on one another. You get a sense of that. Letting the body soften and widen or open, and letting the attention widen and open along with that. Starting to feel the body more as a whole rather than just those contact points. Starting to get a sense of the body as a field of tiny changing sensations. And again, what's it like to apprehend the body in this way? What's it like to inhabit the present moment with this as what we're being aware of? Hopefully it's slightly pleasant. With the shamatha practice, we tend to want to practice with objects that are neutral to slightly pleasant. Of course, with the vipassana practice, we don't pick and choose, but here with the shamatha practice, we direct our attention to, in this case, the breath body. It's a fairly easy place for the attention to land and kind of want to stay with. You can consciously include the breath in this field or just let it kind of arise spontaneously. Remembering the breath is not separate from this field of changing sensations. What we're paying attention to is the breath body, one thing. Breathing in, breathing out, sensitive to the entire breath body. That's the instruction, that's the structure of the meditation. Then, what's it like? What are the effects of doing that? What does it feel like? Tuning into that. Rounding out the meditation. Just wiping the tears away, actually, from the eyes right now. It's not uncommon that, and I know lots of students have reported this, that when we inhabit that space of being present, it's can be very joyful, and there can be tears that come along with that. It's not like tears of being upset, more like tears of joy. And we can carry this practice um, throughout our day. We find ourselves all of a sudden, it's kind of like rolling along through the day, maybe not so aware, and then all of a sudden we come into awareness. Ooh, what's it like to be present right then? And sometimes we can, not to try to repeat it, but there are some things that we do during the day that just lend themselves more to us being present and awake. And we can start to get a taste for that. We can start to be aware of what it's like to inhabit that space. So I'll give you an example. A couple times, I became aware. We have some candles in our windows, and it starts to get dark out. We go turn them on, and for some reason, mindfulness can just naturally arise when I go to do that. And so now, when I'm doing that, it's not like I'm trying to make it happen, but I'm just kind of feeling into like, oh, is that space here right now? Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But the more we can recognize this kind of unworldly joy, the more we can recognize it, the more we can catch it when it's here. And not only is it lovely to inhabit, but it's also it brings about an intention and a desire to inhabit that space more. And it's not a clinging thing and like I want more of this. That's not. It's just more like, oh, this is home, and let me be home as much as I can. It's more like that. It's not craving. It's a different flavor to it. So you can practice and play with that during your daily life as well. Okay, friends. Another week. Good to be with you. Just want to acknowledge challenging times. The soup we're all swimming in is really hard right now. So lean on your practice. Really let it help stabilize you and bring some ease and calm to your mind, to your nervous system. Really important right now. Okay, take good care. We'll see you.